Hey, good afternoon, everybody. This is Austin and Johnny with YinzersView talking about everything in yin sports today. March 10th, 2020. Nice evening. Today we're going to be talking about our rankings for running backs for pretty much past, present, and future from last year going into next year. So we have our tiers, and we also are going to talk about our risers and our, I guess you could say, sleepers for next year. So, John, if you want to go ahead and start this off.
All right, we're gonna do this in like a tier system, like 1 through 5, one being the best. We can start with the bottom feeders with tier 5 since they're less interesting. But yeah, we're just gonna talk about kind of a mixture of just how we feel about them going into next season, kind of blended with how they did last season. Because it would be easy if we were just going completely off last season. Like we're not just gonna put up rankings of how they did.
Yeah.
So if you want to start with your tier 5 or me, it's your call.
Yeah, so tier five, I have Miles Sanders, the Eagles running back. Um, they just can't draft or get running backs in Philadelphia. It's a bad problem that they have, but he's one of the best ones on their committee, but that's really not saying much.
We matched there. I have the Eagles as well. I just read the Eagles in general because they have so many that like who knows who's starting. They have a billion running backs.
Yeah,
So yep,
exactly.
agreed.
My next one is Kenyon Drake, the Arizona Cardinals running back. He's been absolute like dookie his entire career, but he actually showed a little bit of life at Arizona. I'm not sure if next year he'll have a better year or what, but definitely still a tier five running back.
Yeah, I have him in my tier 4. And by the way, whenever we say these, they're not in order of like we're not saying that
No.
the Eagles have running backs are the worst in the entire league. It's just the tier they're kind of on the same page to clarify that. But yeah, I have him in tier 4 too, which I had him towards the back end. Not that that matters, but yeah, I could have easily put him in tier 5 too. I don't think he's going to do that great.
Yeah. Next one, have Ronald Jones from the Buccaneers. Had a much better year last year than the year before, but still, not
I have
that
him in
great.
my I have him in there as well.
Yeah. I mean, maybe he'll do better next year with another year under his belt. They can get another lineman in there to try and open up some holes, but I really don't think so.
Yeah,
Um, Next, we have the freaking one of the oldest running backs in the league, Adrian Peterson. I
yeah,
love
sad to say.
AP. Don't like him in my tier five, but it is what it is. He's like going into his should have been the end of his career last year, I would say, but another year coming back to the Washington Redskins, which are still a hot mess. So yeah,
Yeah, I think he's tier 5 too. Like maybe like a bottom tier 4. But with if Geis is healthy and playing, I can't see him making it out of anything. But if Geis is hurt, like he always is, maybe he's slightly better than all of these running backs.
yeah, yeah. And if Geis does come back and plays a healthy season all next year, I think Adrian Peterson will definitely retire as he should, and maybe Geis will be a tier four, tier three running back after that. Who knows? And then the last one I have, which probably nobody listening to knows, is I don't even know his first name. His last name is Laird from the Miami Dolphins.
Patrick.
Patrick Laird. Yeah, yeah, I honestly watched one of their games. He's a nifty little white running back, so maybe a little bit of life in him, but no, he's a practice squad running back on every other team in the NFL.
I had him in my tier 1 actually, but yeah, I had him in my tier 5 as well, and he was actually my last one in my tier 5. So we were pretty dead on with that, other than one running back.
Yeah. Did you have any more in your tier five, or was that it?
That's it. So I'll go over my tier 4, and you can tell me what you match with or whatever. All right. There's going to be some spicy ones in here. Some people are not going to like these. I will start with the less spicy ones. Tier 4, Philip Lindsay. He obviously he was debatably offensive rookie of the year whenever he came in. Like he did actually pretty insane. But Saquon Barkley, so no. But
Yeah.
uh, I don't think he's amazing. I think tier 4 mostly just because of how bad the Broncos are. So I'm gonna like they're gonna be a good defense next year. I think with that
Always.
ridiculous trade they just nailed, getting AJ Bouye, but I don't think they're gonna be dominant on running the ball. So he's
Yeah,
tier 4 for me.
AJ Bouye for a fourth round pick. He forgot that part.
Yes.
Yeah, but yeah. So Philip Lindsay, he's also in my tier 4. I like the guy a lot. He's a nifty little dude, but I don't, I don't know. Maybe he'll be better next year. Maybe in the tier 3. I wish he wasn't in my tier 4, but yeah.
Yeah. All right. Carry on Johnson. I liked him a lot coming in as a rookie, but he got hurt and stuff, and the lines are only probably worse. So tier 4.
I actually have Carry on Johnson in my tier 3. So
Okay. I was big on him last year, but my hype died
yeah,
down.
I'm going in hoping he does a lot better last year than he did this year. I mean, he was injured this year, but yeah.
All right, Damian Williams also in there. I guess you could also say LaShawn McCoy. I mean, they're almost 50. They're like 6. I don't know what the hell they are. Bad is what they are. They're not a good running team. They are benefactors to Pat Mahomes, and that's it in my opinion. So tier 4.
Yeah, Damian Williams, he's in my tier 4 too. He's a guy that's just going to go and run the ball and not do anything crafty, anything fancy. Probably won't even do much with it, but yeah.
I mean, he has his moments. Like he did really
Yeah.
decent in the playoffs. Like for some
Mhm.
reason, he decided to suck on fantasy for me all year, and then it's playoffs, and he's like, "Yeah, yeah, I'll do good now."
He's the Nick Foles of running backs.
All right, Carlos Hyde for the Houston Texans, I presume, is their running back now. So he's in my tier 4. I think he's an okay runner, but he can't catch much, and 4.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Carlos Hyde, if I'm being completely honest. The year before the 49ers traded him, he was a good running back. Had a lot of upside to him. Then his contract year, I'm assuming, came up, and then got traded around. I don't like him. He's in my tier 4.
Okay. So we're pretty dead nuts then so far.
Yeah.
Like we have like 4 off maybe. But all right. Next, Sony Michelle, just because the Patriots just have a massive committee. Like I don't think he's gonna be like independently amazing. So tier 4.
Yeah, he's in my tier 4 because of Tom Brady.
Like Tom Brady leaving. You mean?
No, just because Tom Brady doesn't like to hand the ball off.
Oh, okay. Next, Le'Veon Bell. I think he will only do worse. He will do worse
Yeah,
before he does better on the abysmal Jets.
yep. I have Le'Veon Bell tier 4 too. Should have never left the Steelers. The grass isn't always greener on the other side. Would have also made more money in Pittsburgh. Still a little salty about it. But yeah, as long as he's on the Jets or any team that doesn't have like a top 5 line, he'll be tier 4.
Yep, and he's only getting older. So,
Mm-hmm.
great. David Montgomery. I think he's tier 4 because, I mean, he does a lot with what he's given, but I mean, that line isn't stand out, and I don't think Trubisky's it. So that offense is going to suck, and he's not going to be able to. He's not like some beast that can just like carry it. I think he's okay, but tier 4.
I actually have David Montgomery in my tier 3 because he is the entire offense for the Chicago Bears. And last year was his rookie year. Actually did really well for what he had with him, and I think he's only going to get better.
Yes. All right. And my last one, which is the spiciest one, Todd Gurley. I think he's going to do worse. He doesn't get the touches, and I think he averaged like maybe 3.5 yards per carry, which is whatever. I think how the Rams just were is a good indicator of how they're going to be. I think that this is the Rams now, other than the Super
Definitely.
Bowl contenders. I think that they are the second weakest team in that division now, which is ridiculous.
I have Todd Gurley in my tier 3. He's probably not going to be in tier 3 next year, especially if he still has arthritis, which, I mean, I guess he can't help that, but like if it keeps getting worse. I do have 2 more running backs in my tier 4 that I wanted to go over. So I have Marlon Mack, the Colts running back. I like
Okay,
Marlon Mack. He's a good little pass catcher. Not really big enough to run between the tackles on every down, but he's a guy that if it's like 3rd and 4, you can do a little screen pass to him. May or may not get you the first down.
see, for my thinking on putting him in 3 is not that he's so much amazing, but that Colts line is pretty freaking awesome. So that
Yeah.
pads him for me.
Him and Hines share time though, don't they?
I wouldn't go that far. Hines is like a 3rd down back.
Is he?
He's
I don't
yeah,
watch too many
he's
Colts
like catching.
games.
I mean, me
Gotcha.
either, but he's more of a pass catcher.
Gotcha. And then my last one, this one might be a spicy one. I have Raheem Mostert in this one, the 49ers running back.
Okay, well, I didn't really put just him. Like, I kind of like just paired all their running backs. 'Cause they're also like
Yeah,
the Patriots. They just have like a. So
comedic. Yeah,
I actually have the Niners as a whole in tier two. But if we're just talking him, I would have put him down 4 or 5 too, just because
yeah,
independently, I don't think he's that amazing.
exactly. Yeah, and that's all I have for tier four. So now we go into tier three, where I think for both of us is like the biggest tier, like rank wise.
Oh yeah, like amount of players. Yeah,
Mhm.
a lot of middle of the road guys.
Yep.
Yep,
My first one for tier three, I hate to say, especially because of the stuff you see behind me, but it's James Conner.
yep. I have James Conner in there too.
2 years ago, tier two. Last year, tier three.
I would have said maybe even potentially tier one last year.
I mean, he did make the Pro Bowl. I forgot about that, but I don't know. But yeah, he's tier three, and I honestly don't know if he'll get out of tier three. So we'll have to wait and see. Um, Next one I have is Melvin Gordon. Um, I like Melvin Gordon. He had a really good rookie year, but he's just a running back in the NFL that's going to, I guess, do better than tier four and five are. And he's going to go somewhere, I'm assuming, because Austin Eckler just signed a 4-year deal. So it'll be interesting to see where he goes, and maybe it'll make him go into tier two or tier four. Who knows?
I actually didn't even bother putting him in my list. But if I would, 3 or 4, he's mediocre.
Yeah. I have Mark Ingram in tier three. Mark Ingram's always been like a good running back. Can't really say anything bad against him, but he is getting older. So I
Yep.
would have put him in tier two a couple years ago, maybe like 2 years ago, but he's
Right
getting
before
older.
right before Kamara came in, absolutely tier two.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then when he came in, still borderline tier two because they were
And
pretty
now,
big beats together at first.
yeah. And now with the Ravens, he's splitting time with his running quarterback. So yeah.
Yep, that's just a fact. That and
Yeah.
they have a couple running backs younger than him that could start getting better. I can't think of their names, but there was one I think that was just a rookie, and with the touches he had, he didn't look too bad.
Yeah. Next one I have is Joe Mixon, just because he's still pretty young and the Bengals are still shit. Maybe next year he'll be in tier two if they can add some offensive linemen. But yeah, he's a good running back. No complaints with him.
Yep. Whenever I did my tier two, he was the first running back that popped in my head. Like I think he's just right on the outskirts of tier one. I think he has a lot better chance this upcoming year because the Cincinnati Bengals drafted a lot of linemen last year and they were like hurt. I think wasn't it their first round pick? They drafted a lineman. He was hurt like the whole season. So him being healthy and whatever, he could definitely do some work.
Yep. Yeah, maybe next year he will go into my tier two, but probably will because he is a solid back. But for right now, tier three. The next one I have is Devin Singletary, the Bills rookie back last year.
Yeah.
Played lights out, even sharing time with the old man Frank Gore. The sky's the limit for him. He can only get better.
Yeah, I think Singletary has a very good chance of getting better just immediately. He looked good. He looked way better at the end of the season than he did whenever he was first starting to play.
Absolutely.
Which I mean is common sense, but he looked like dramatically better, is what I'm getting at. Yep.
Yeah. And then I have David Montgomery, which I already went over when you had him in your tier four, so I won't go over him too much. I have Aaron Jones in there for tier three.
Okay, I actually have him in tier two, and I'm a hater, so.
I'm a hater too. That's why he's in my tier three. I'm just not a fan of the Packers. So sorry to Pax Nation if any of you listen to these videos. I doubt it, but yeah, I don't know. Aaron Jones, tier three forever.
I just think the Packers as a whole were just so fucking lucky last year winning their games. Like they were the sorriest excuse of a second seed that I think I've ever fucking seen. So
Amen.
Like the fact they were even in the ballpark of going to the Super Bowl is nothing short of just nonsense because Aaron Rodgers was like mediocre, barely above mediocre. And I don't think Aaron Rodgers is nearly as good as what he used to be. I think he is fallen completely out of the elite category, in my opinion. So I think their days are numbered. Maybe they'll have another fluky year. I don't know.
There is talk of them bringing Austin Hooper in though, which I predicted in like 3 episodes ago. So that could change a lot of things.
Yeah, if they would bring him in, he would probably help, but can't be too sure.
Yeah. No. Next one in my tier 3 is Kerryon Johnson. Had an up and down year last year, especially with being hurt, but more experience he gets, the better he's going to get. So yeah.
Yeah, I like Kerryon Johnson too. I could have easily moved him up as well. Is that all you have for your tier 3?
I have 3 more. My other tier 3 is Seattle's running back Chris Carson.
I have him in my 2.
Yeah, he could have been in 2, but I don't know, man. He's kind of a smaller running back, isn't he? Or is that one of their other running backs?
No,
he's their big beefy boy. Okay.
Yeah, he's the one that was like trucking and stuff. Like he's like almost Marshawn Lynch-esque. I mean, he's not Marshawn Lynch, but he's thicker. Yeah.
That confusion there is probably why he's in my tier 3 then.
Okay.
My other tier 3, I already went over Todd Gurley being in my tier 3. So my last one would be Devontae Freeman.
Yep, I have him in there as well.
Talk about 2 or 3 years ago, he's tier 2, maybe tier 1, but he's just progressively gotten worse.
What was it, his sophomore year, I think, that he like ripped the league apart?
Mm-hmm.
I think, maybe. Yeah. I would have had him tier 1 that year. But yeah, injuries have just plagued him, which sucks.
Yeah.
Not that I'm a huge Falcons fan or nothing. But all right. I've had all the ones that you said, or hit or miss, as I said. But Mac, like I said earlier, I have him in there. And then you must have these guys higher, or maybe I've forgotten that you mentioned them, but I have Fournette and Josh Jacobs in there as well at tier 3.
I have both of them in my tier 2.
Okay. And the reason I put Fournette in my tier 3 is because I don't think the Jaguars are going to be as good as they even were last year, like offensively. I think their defense is going to regress too with losing AJ Bouye. I think they're absolutely retarded for doing that. So I think the Jaguars are going to hurt Fournette because Fournette doesn't even want to be there, it seems, because I don't know if you saw his Instagram where he posted all those pictures of him like basically like they were just memes. Like he deleted all his old ones and put new ones, and he put his face on like Will Smith in an empty house and stuff. Basically just saying like, basically just showing what everyone kind of is already getting the idea of is just that organization is terrible. The management needs replaced terribly. They're just pushing out all of their good players. How do you lose Jalen Ramsey and AJ Bouye as quickly as you did? You went from having the best 1-2 corner punch to having probably one of the worst.
Yeah, the team just needs to pack up and ship to London, get the first international team. Maybe something will change over there. But yeah, I get what you're saying. So now going into, was that all that you had for tier 3?
I have Josh Jacobs too, but he's slightly above average. Nothing really to say that's insanely groundbreaking with him. I think he's good, but I don't think he's like necessarily better than these other guys.
Yeah, I have him having a promising year next year, which is why he's in my tier 2, but I could very well be wrong. Yeah, absolutely. So going into tier 2, if you want to go ahead and start on that, I don't have that many in there.
I only have 3 remaining. I had maybe some whenever we were going earlier. I had Aaron Jones in there and stuff. Like I've been deleting them as we go, so I don't re-talk over anybody. So I have 3 remaining that I haven't already said. And the first one being on there is Nick Chubb. He led the league in rushing yards, I believe, but I don't think he's someone that's like that high of caliber to where he's going to constantly be like in the discussion for top yards or anything. I was pretty surprised by that he did. So I think he's just right below some of these tier 1 guys, even though he led in such a big stat like that.
Yeah, I have him as my first tier 2 as well. I think the reason he did so good last year was because he had to, because Baker was yet again not as good as everybody thought Baker would be. So they kind of had to lean on him a little more. But yeah, tier 2 could have been tier 1, but
yeah, that's kind of how I felt too. And then I have Austin Eckler in tier 2 as well. I think that Austin Eckler, with what he did when he did have the ball in his hands, I think he is actually tier 1 talented. It just he doesn't get those touches, and who knows what they're doing with Melvin Gordon, et cetera, et cetera. So tier 2.
Yeah, I have him in my tier 2. Really wanted to put him in my tier 1, but with them losing Phillip Rivers, and who knows what that'll be. They might try to overwork him, and who knows what happens there. But yeah, definitely tier 2 at the least. Possibly could have been a tier 1.
Yeah, like I said before in prior videos, I think he's a poor man's Christian McCaffrey and could be just as good. Like, he looks insane when he has the ball. So that stuff doesn't scare me as bad because I feel like he could fat carry. But who knows? I think tier 2 is a pretty decent spot. Maybe tier 3. I might have him a little high. And then my last one that I have remaining is Alvin Kamara. He had a really bad year for some reason. I don't really know why. I didn't really look into what all was going on, if he was hurt or if he was just not getting the ball or what was going on. But he doesn't, like, himself. Like, he's just been insane since he's been in the league, and he wasn't last year for some reason. So I expect him to kind of have a chance at going right back to where he left off, but just an off year for some reason. So tier 2 is a comfortable spot for him.
Yep. I have him in my tier 2 as well for those exact reasons. And then the last one that I have in my tier 2 that I probably could have put in tier 1, probably should have put in tier 1, but just didn't because of injury history is Dalvin Cook.
Oh, yeah. I was pondering putting him in, like, not in tier 1 either, just because of how he's been hurt more than he's been not hurt. So, yeah.
And then when he is healthy, he is one of the best. It's just a matter if he can stay healthy.
Yep, I have him in my tier 1 just because I wasn't factoring injury too much into this.
Yeah.
Where if I would have probably bumped it down too. So I completely agree. That's fitting. All right, you can go over your tier 1s. I mean, they're pretty obvious.
They're probably the same, yeah. Tier 1, starting off, Christian McCaffrey. You can't even have an argument against him. Number 2, Saquon Barkley. He's only going to get better, surprisingly. Derrick Henry, which is, I mean, not surprising after last year, but like his freshman year and the year after could have been, or his freshman year. Yeah.
I think the Titans are borderline for real. Like, I think that for if they wouldn't have had such a bad start with Mariota, however the hell you say his name, they could have been easily a way better seed. And imagine them playing some games in Tennessee, because Tennessee has some fans, like Music City and everything, like with when the Predators were in the playoffs and stuff. Like, they had some decent home ice. And I'd imagine it would be the same with football. I don't see why not. Yeah. So I think Tennessee, like, against the Chiefs isn't impossible. Like, they could have won, maybe. I think the Titans are kind of for real, and I think Derrick Henry's a big reason why, and he will continue to be. So, yeah, he was actually the very first person I wrote down. Not that that matters, but he's the very first person I thought of. Just because he's ridiculous. But, yeah.
And then my last for tier 1 is Zeke.
Yep, same.
I don't like Zeke, but he's there.
Yeah. Don't like Zeke, but yep, that's where he'd be. All right, and then finish this video off if you want to talk a couple players that you think maybe would rise in your list, that like you could see like having like a good chance of going higher next year, like just based off looking at it. You know what I'm saying? And then people that might fall down your list.
Yeah, absolutely. So I actually have 4 in each category: 4 risers, 4 followers. The first one I have as my riser is David Montgomery. He's my tier 3. Another year under his belt, maybe the Bears boost up his line. Maybe Trubisky's a little bit better. Could see him in tier 2.
Yeah, I think Montgomery has good. He's really good with breaking tackles, wasn't he?
Yes.
The leader in broken tackles coming into the NFL for his class. I think so.
He is.
So,
yes.
Yep, and I think the Bears' offense honestly can't be any worse than what they were. I'd be surprised if they did. So, and if they're better, he'll be better. So, yep.
Yeah, I want to say they can't be worse, but Trubisky could definitely prove us wrong once again. My second one is Devin Singletary. Pretty much the same exact reasons for Montgomery, so not going to dig into that too much.
Yep. Agreed. I have both of them as well.
Ronald Jones is my next one. I currently have him in tier 5. He's gotten better each year that he's played. It's not really saying much, though. So maybe he can take it up a notch this year and go from tier 5 to tier 4. Who knows?
That's one that I will disagree.
Yeah, I didn't want to put him in there, but he's there. But
I'll give you a third since we didn't match. I put Joe Mixon in there. We already put him in 3 or whatever it was. Like, I think we were both mutual on that, but I think he's going to be a number 1. I think he's going to be tier 1 after this season. I really do.
Yeah, I don't know about tier 1 for me, just because I don't know. I could definitely see him going into tier 2 though, but I don't know about tier 1. But yeah, he's definitely a riser. I could have had him on there, but wanted to risk it with Ronald Jones. And then my last one is Philip Lindsay.
Okay.
I have Lindsay. Yeah, I have him rising from tier 4 to tier 3. Just talk about teams that can't be worse on offense. That's the Broncos as well.
Yeah, I have Devontae Freeman. I think that if he stays healthy, he'll do better. Yeah. So I think he can squeeze back in the top 2 tiers somewhere because he's a lot better than what he showed.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So that's it for the risers. Do you want to go ahead and take the lead on the fallers?
Yeah. I have projected fallers, which, I mean, with how we've been talking, people could probably make their assumptions of what I'm going to say based off of what I've already said. But Fournette is the number 1 on that one for the reasons I've already said. It was pretty recent.
I'll be honest, I think we have completely different predictions for fallers, and I might make a few people salty, including myself, on this. But I don't have him on there. My first one is Carlos Hyde for obvious reasons. I think he's slowing down.
I already had him pretty damn low.
Yeah, I had him in 4 going to 5. So I mean, not a big fall, but yeah, gotcha. He's getting washed. Yeah, so that's my first one. What was your second one?
Le'Veon Bell. I think he's going to do worse.
I wanted to put him in there, but I didn't. Yeah, I think he's going to do worse as well. Unless the Jets can beef up their line overnight, which is impossible, he's not going to be any better. My faller is Mark Ingram, just because of age, and like you said, just because of his age, and they might have a committee now coming in next year. Not like a 49ers type committee, but maybe like a strong 1-2 punch, and then their quarterback.
Is it Justice Hill, or am I thinking
of
someone
Justice
else?
No, Justice Hill sounds very familiar, but I don't know if he's with the Ravens or not.
I believe that's him, because I feel it was someone that, like, he kept. Yeah, it's him, Justice Hill. Yeah, I think he could squeeze into relevancy, and I mean, when you're already splitting time with your running back at quarterback, and then you have all these other young guys pressing you because they're fast too, because they're the fast, heavy-duty upfront offense.
Yeah,
I don't think Mark Ingram's going to be too crucial. He'll be a goal line guy.
Mm-hmm. And you said you had him on your list?
Yep, I have him falling too. Yep.
Gotcha. So you've done 3, so I'll go on and go ahead and do my third. So I have Melvin Gordon. Not like he did much this year, but I have him as a 3rd tier, depending on where he ends up, if he ends up going somewhere or splitting time with Austin Eckler. I think regardless, he's going to go down to tier 4.
Yep, I kind of agree on all aspects of that, just because I think Austin Eckler's better, and the Chargers are a different team now. So even if he stays unless he goes to like some ridiculous team that really needs a running back to where he like takes complete ownership, like the Rams maybe or something.
I'm saying he should go to the Texans. I'd hop on that bandwagon ASAP.
Yeah, I don't think the Texans are really that good of a run team, regardless of who they got, really.
Yeah.
When was the last time they had a super amazing run game?
Arian Foster. Talking about like 5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah, they're just Deshaun Watson's show. They're not running the damn ball.
Yeah. Yeah,
and
then
the last one, you can go if you want to.
No. I was about to ask what your last one was.
Okay. Do you have a last one too?
I do have a last one, but I'm having you go first.
Well, let's do it at the same time. Ready? If it's the same person, then I don't know. We're awesome. Ready? 3, 2, 1.
Austin Eckler.
Damn. That close.
So your thoughts on why Chris Carson's going to drop?
I don't think he's as good as he was doing. I think that, like, I don't even know how the Seahawks are so damn good. They got Pete Carroll and they got Russell Wilson. I thought they got Dick. So I don't understand. He ran really good. He was a strong runner. but I don't think he's going to repeat. Like, he was pretty damn good. He was like top 10. I don't think he's going to be top 10. Is basically it. I don't think he's bad, but I just don't think he's as good as he was.
Yeah, you were talking about the Packers being one of the most freaking lucky teams in the NFL. I think they're right up there. Yeah.
Yeah. And I like the Seahawks. Like, I don't. There's nothing wrong with them. Like, I like Pete Carroll. I like Russell. I definitely like Russell Wilson. But I think they were lucky too. But not as lucky as the Packers. They were just shit luck. So yeah.
Yeah, and then my last one was Austin Eckler. I cried a little bit putting him on there because I'm a huge Austin Eckler fan. But who knows what the hell the Chargers are going to be next year.
Yep. I kind of agree. I have him in tier 2, so it's easy to fall off from there.
Yeah, so that's where I have him.
Yeah. Yep, yeah. I can absolutely see it. Which would suck because I like the dude.
Oh, yeah. He's still going to be my number 1 running back next year. So hopefully he increases rather than decreases for that aspect. But I don't see that happening. But yeah. Well, is there anything else you wanted to go over today?
Yep, that's pretty much it. But for our keeper league, I'm gonna have Josh Jacobs and James Conner, and I'm not huge on them. Like, I think they're middle tier. So basically, I'm saying my running backs suck.
I got Leonard. Yeah, I got Eckler and Leonard Fournette. So both guys that could drastically do worse than last year, which is pretty scary.
Fournette's gonna do good. Okay, I get it.
All right. Yeah. Well, thank you guys so much for listening to today's episode. I'll put this up as soon as possible and hope you guys have a great rest of your night.
See ya.